Salvete omnes, and welcome to Learning Latin Online. If you're new here, I am happy that you found me. My name is Magister Silva, and I'm a high school language instructor here in Austin, Texas. In this series, we're going to cover various stages of the Cambridge Latin course text, and that means learning some Latin vocabulary, a little bit about ancient history, and practice speaking in the original language. It's super easy and super fun. So without further ado, let us get started. Habemus. So some of the topics we're going to be covering in this stage include sum, the Latin verb to be. We're going to review Latin word order, how to form a basic Latin sentence, cover some basic greetings, and take a look at the Roman house. Okay, so let's just quickly go over some of our classroom agreements. Number 1, be engaged and present as we review course material. Find a nice, quiet, relaxing place where you can look at the material, close any extra tabs or browser windows you might have open, and put away your cell phones. Number 2, be prepared to participate with an open mind. And that means listening to the perspectives of others and respecting their cultural backgrounds. Number 3, be prepared to commit to learning and supporting others around you. We're not just practicing good Latin, we're practicing good citizenship. Now, let's just take a look at a few essential questions we should bear in mind as we make our way through the stage. Number 1, how do I form the Latin verb to be? How is this like our own verb to be in your own native language, whether it be English, French, Spanish, German, Italian? Number 2, how do I greet someone in ancient Rome? How is this different than how we greet someone today on the street? Number 3, what are the rooms of a Roman house, and how do these differ from living spaces in our own modern-day dwellings? And here it is, the Latin verb to be sum in the present tense. And as you can see, there are a number of different forms depending on who is being. The first instance is the first person singular, sum, I am. The second is the second person singular, you are, or s. Third person singular, est, he, she, or it is. The first person plural, sumus, we are. Second person plural, estis, you all are. And the third person plural, sunt, they are. Now, really quickly, if you have any experience with other languages, how do we form the verb to be in other languages? Now let's talk a little bit about Latin word order. On the left, you'll see a typical Latin sentence, Quintus ancilla amat, which translates into Quintus loves the slave girl. Now you'll notice that the subject comes first, followed by the object, with the verb being at the end of the sentence. Now, in our English equivalent, we have the subject first, followed by the verb, and then the object. So you can see that Latin word order makes sense to the Romans. To us, we have to work a little bit harder, and it sounds like Yoda speak. But we will get used to it as time progresses and with enough practice. Now let's take a look at another type of Latin sentence. Caecer est imperator. In this example, you'll notice that the subject is first, followed by the verb, and then what appears to be an object is actually another nominative, further describing Caesar. We call this type of sentence a substantive, and it's with the verb to be in the middle, rather than on the end. So first, you want to start with greeting someone on the streets. And for this, we would use the expression salve, meaning greetings or good fortune to you, good health. Now, if you're greeting more than one person, you will use the second person plural, salvete, meaning greetings or good health to all of you. Now, if you wanted to ask someone their name, if this is the first time that you've met them, you would use the expression quid tibi nomen est. What is the name for you? And if you were being asked this question yourself, your reply would be mihi nomen est. The name for me is, and then you supply your name. So for example, in my case, mihi nomen est Magister Silva. The next little bit of information you may want is to see how someone is doing. So the expression quid novi, what is new, might be on your agenda. The heart of Roman society was the Roman house, or the domus, and it is the domain of the paterfamilias. If you take a look at your diagram, the main area of this house is the atrium, marked by number 3. At the center of the atrium, we have a large pool of water called the impluvium, and this would filter in rainwater from above from the compluvium, which would trickle down the roof tiles and then into this basin. The way you would enter a typical Roman house is through number 1, the vestibulum, also called the fauces, or jaws of the house. And there you would meet the head slave, who would allow you in or not, depending on if they recognized you and if you were a client known to the paterfamilias. Now notice number 6 is not connected with the interior of the house. There's a door leading into it. And this is because certain Roman homeowners may rent out space to shops. And so the taberna, a shop, would have been in this space. If you look at number 7, the cubiculum, this is kind of just a regular term we use for a room rather than a specific room, because rooms in a Roman house change depending on times of the year, depending on what furniture is in there. A cubiculum may very well have been a bedroom, or it may have been an office. It really just depends on the homeowner. Now notice number 4 is referred to as a peristilum, and this is a garden area. The word peristilum literally means style, styluses that go all the way around the garden. And it's a great place to entertain, to have a little garden of your own, to host parties, or even dramatic readings. You also have a collina, number 8, that's your kitchen. And number 5, a latrina. This is not as typical, except in maybe more of the affluent Roman houses. Most Romans would have gone to the local lavatory down the way, so a public lavatory. They would have carried their sponge with them. So this is really a mark of power and prestige, as is room number 11, the triclinium. The bigger and more ornate your triclinium is, the more wealth you have. And the word triclinium literally means 3 benches. So 3 benches laid end to end would have filled this space, allowing for the host to entertain his guests. And the floors would have been adorned with wonderful mosaics, with imported marble perhaps, little tiny squares called tessera that would have made up a larger picture. And along the walls you have these wonderful frescoes, typically of mythological themes or dramatic scenes from plays. And again, the idea is it's meant to impress the guests that come to the house. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the rooms in a Roman domus and what typically goes on there in terms of activities. So where are they? Caecilius est in tablino. Caecilius is in the tablinum. And remember I said that a cubiculum could be either an office or a bedroom. A tablinum is typically seen as a strict area of work. So this definitely distinguishes it from a sleeping area. Next, we have Quintus, the sun. Quintus est in triclinio. Notice that the ending for a triclinium has switched to O because we're using the preposition in, which requires an ablative. And the translation? Quintus is in the dining room. Next, let us move to Metella. Metella est in atrio. Again, notice that atrio is in the ablative case because of in. Metella is in the atrium. What is Metella doing in the atrium? The atrium is typically reserved for the paterfamilias to meet with the clients in what is called the salutatio or salutation ceremony in the morning. So clients would come in and expect some sort of little handout, perhaps a breakfast or maybe a few coins from their paterfamilias, for the head of the family, and they would go out and perhaps do the bidding of that particular patron, singing his praises or whatever. So this client-patron relationship is actually seen in a lot of countries still today. Now the mother or mater may use the same area at a different point in time to meet with her friends or perhaps do some reading, meet with the slaves in the house to order them about to do things. So again, in a Roman domus, areas are always in flux and flexible. Next, let us move on to the Roman garden, or the hortus, modern cognate of which would be horticulture. Servus est in horto. Notice again that hortus takes the ablative case because of the preposition in. So when translating, the slave is in the garden. Now let's move on to Cerberus here. He is Caecilius' dog. And canis est in via. The dog is in the street. Again, the preposition in, demanding that the noun via viae take the ablative, and that's why you have a lawn mark over the via. What is really funny is that if you were to go to Pompeii today, you would find some mosaics set out in front of some of these homes, these Roman homes, with a dog saying cave canem, beware of dog. Finally, we come to Grumio, everyone's favorite character in the Cambridge Latin series. He is the chef, the amazing chef who cooks up all kinds of food for Caecilius and the family, and a consummate survivor. Think of him as the Steven Seagal of the ancient world. And in this example, Grumio est in collina. Grumio is in the kitchen. Now it's time to review our Latin vocabulary for stage 1. Our first word is canis, canis in the genitive, meaning dog, from which we get the modern word canine. Quocus, quoci, cook, from which we get coquetry. The verb to be, sum, in the third person singular present tense is est, meaning he, she, or it is. Filius, filii, meaning son, with a modern cognate filial. Hortus, horti in the genitive, meaning garden, from which we get horticulture. Pater, nominative, patri, meaning father, paternity. Servus, servi, meaning slave, with a modern term servitude. Sedet, third person singular present tense of sedeo, and it means he, she, or it sits, and a modern word would be sedentary. The preposition in, meaning in, and the modern word in should clue you in to the definition of this word. Via, viae, meaning street, and today we use via a lot of times. Now notice I pronounced it via instead of via in the Latin. It's because V's should be pronounced as W's. Mater, matri, mother, maternal. Triclinium, triclinii, dining room, from which we get recline. Atrium, atrii, it's the main room of the house, and atrial comes from this. Cubiculum, cubiculi, bedroom, or cubicle. Okay, so now let us put our newfound Latin skills to the test by translating an actual Latin passage. Caecilius est in horto. Caecilius is in the garden. Caecilius in horto sedet. Caecilius is sitting in the garden. Servus est in atrio. The slave is in the atrium. Servus in atrio laborat. The slave is working in the atrium. Metella est in atrio. Metella is in the atrium. Metella in atrio sedet. Metella is sitting in the atrium. Quintus est in tablino. Quintus is in the study. Quintus in tablino scribit. Quintus is writing in the study. Cerberus est in via. Cerberus is in the street. And now to briefly recap. So today we covered the various forms of the verb to be, sum. The first person singular, sum, meaning I am. The second person singular, es, meaning you are. The third person singular, est, meaning he, she, or it is. Sumus, we are. Estis, you all are. And the third person plural, sunt, they are. We also learned some basic Roman greetings. Salve, to someone singular that you know, meaning greetings or good health, and salvete, to more than one person, meaning good health to you. Quid novi, what's up? Quid tibi nomen est, what is your name? We also reviewed the various sections of the Roman house. I just want to say thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing all of you next time for learning Latin online.